The Grand Assembly Hall floated in the center of the neutral zone, a massive ring-shaped space station shining like a jewel in the darkness of space. Inside, hundreds of alien leaders sat on their hover platforms, their voices echoing through the chamber. Screens floated in the air, showing news from across the galaxy. And at the center of it all, Earth's ambassador sat quietly. Ambassador Elena wore the official blue uniform of Earth's peace envoy. She was calm, her face unreadable. Around her, laughter filled the room. The other species were not being polite. They were mocking Earth. A tall insect-like creature named General Yox of the Crixan Empire stood up and raised a claw. "Let us be honest," he said loudly. "Earth claims to be a power, yet never shows any true force. No war fleets, no weapons test, not even a single threat. Are humans just afraid?" The room burst into loud laughter. A reptilian leader added, "They hide their weakness with words of peace." A four-eyed ambassador from the Takari Confederation waved her tentacles. "Maybe Earth has no real weapons. Maybe they only bluff." Even Commander Jorah of the Varnax Alliance, one of the youngest and proudest military voices in the room, chuckled and said, "Perhaps they still use metal bullets." The laughter grew louder. But Elena didn't speak. She pressed her hands together calmly. She had been to this room before. She had heard these jokes before. Earth always stayed silent. But not this time. Quietly, she reached into her coat and pressed a small silver button on her communicator. A faint blue light blinked once. No one noticed. She stood slowly. "I understand your jokes," she said softly. "It's easy to laugh at the quiet ones. Easy to assume silence means weakness. But I am not here to make threats. I am only here to deliver a message." She paused, her eyes scanning the room. A message from Earth's high command. The room quieted a bit. She continued, "We've always hoped to keep peace, but peace does not mean powerlessness. We've shown restraint, not weakness. You mock us because you have never seen our arsenal." She took a breath, then added, "But soon you will." Gasps echoed across the chamber. Before anyone could respond, the main chamber's lights flickered. All screens froze. Then they changed. Every floating screen now showed one thing: Earth's moon. From a camera deep in space, the entire assembly saw a massive metallic structure rising from the dark side of the moon. It was covered in black armor. Its surface glowed faintly, and beside it floated something even stranger: ships. Dozens of them. They had no visible engines, no windows, no markings. They moved silently, without flame, without heat. An AI voice from Earth echoed across every screen. "Weapon Vault 7, unlocked, standing by." The entire room went silent. Even General Yox stopped moving. Jorah leaned forward, eyes wide. What are those ships?" Elena smiled gently. "Just the beginning." One of the alien admirals shouted, "This is a trick, a simulation." Elena didn't flinch. "Send your scouts. The ships are real, and they've already moved." Suddenly, a second image appeared. A galactic map. Red dots lit up all across alien space. Elena spoke softly. "We didn't want this. We watched. We waited. But now, the time for watching is over." Jorah stood up, shaking. "Why now? Why reveal this now?" Elena looked straight at him. "Because you laughed. Double quote silence. No one moved. No one laughed now." Across the galaxy, silent Terran ships began to uncloak near. Major alien borders. No weapons fired. No messages sent. Just presence. A quiet warning. Elena stepped back, her face calm once again. "This is not war," she said. "This is understanding." The assembly remained frozen, not with power but with fear. Far away, on Earth's moon, a mechanical voice. Whispered in silence. Phase 1. Complete. Asterisk Ambassador Elena walked slowly through the steel corridors of the Grand Assembly Hall. Behind her, the alien leaders still sat in silence, staring at the screens that had shown Earth's hidden power. She didn't wait for their questions. She had delivered the message. Now the galaxy would choose what to do with it. Outside the station, dozens of cloaked Terran warships moved like shadows in space. They made no sound. Their black hulls bent. Light itself, almost invisible to the eye. These were not ordinary ships. They were the result of over 100 years of secret human development, built not to threaten, but to end any threat. Inside one of the Terran vessels, deep in command, General Hall stood beside a massive screen showing live feeds from across the galaxy. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "Council response?" he asked quietly. His assistant replied, "Shock, panic, but no action." "Not yet." "Good. They're still pretending this is a bluff," Halle muttered. "Let them pretend." Meanwhile, back inside the assembly hall, Commander Jorah sat alone in his chamber, replaying the images again and again. He couldn't believe what he saw: the silence of the Terran fleet, their smooth, calculated appearance, no threats, no weapons fired, just cold confidence. He opened his private console and ran a search through the Varnax military database. Terran weapon class, unknown. Ship type, unknown. Engine type, unknown. Response protocol, none available. The words hit harder than any weapon. They didn't know anything. He leaned back, breathing slowly. "We've been blind," he whispered Dot at the same time. In a dark meeting room elsewhere in the assembly, a group of powerful alien leaders gathered in secret. General Yox, the Crixan, who had mocked Earth just hours ago, slammed his claw on the table. "This is not real. Earth cannot be allowed to intimidate us with lies." The Takari delegate, a floating jelly-like being, spoke with trembling words. "But what if it is real? What if they've had this power the whole time?" Another alien growled. "Then we must act. Before they control everything." They all turned to one dark figure in the shadows, Ambassador Krail of the Morka Dominion, known for covert operations and assassinations. Krail spoke calmly. "They stayed silent while we laughed. Now they speak without shouting. That is not weakness. That is danger." Yox grunted. "Then what do you suggest?" Krail's voice turned. "Cold, we find out the truth. We send a spy to Earth. On Earth, in a hidden command center buried beneath the Himalayas, another conversation was taking place. A tall woman in black armor stood before a group of officers. She was Commander Reyna, leader of the Eclipse Division, Earth's most secretive military unit. "Reports say they'll try something stupid," she said. "A spy, a probe, maybe even a test strike." Her voice was calm but deadly. "Let them. The net is already in place." One officer asked, "And the ships?" Reyna looked at a hologram showing the full Terran arsenal. "We've only shown them the first layer. If they push, they'll see what comes next." Back in space, a cloaked Terran drone drifted silently near the homeworld of the Christian Empire. It was smaller than a fighter, nearly invisible to all sensors. Its mission was simple: observe, record, prepare. The drone watched as Christian ships began to move into formation. Signal was sent back to Earth. Reyna read the message and smiled faintly. "They're taking the bait." She turned to her team. "Let's test their courage." And far, far from Earth, a shadow passed near a lonely moon orbiting a forgotten gas giant. A single Terran ship, Project Obsidian, rested quietly in the darkness. Its weapons were sealed. Its engines cold. But inside, something ancient began to wake. A red light flickered in its core. Stand by for full exposure. Earth's arsenal is not yet complete. Commander Jorah could not sleep. He stood by the wide glass wall of his quarters aboard the Varnak's flagship, Sky Warden, staring out into the stars. But his mind wasn't on the beauty of space. It was locked on Earth, on what they had revealed. Or rather, what they had not. The images haunted him. Black ships with no engines, moving without heat, without sound. Elena's voice repeating in his mind, "We've shown restraint, not weakness." Jorah turned sharply and opened a secure channel. "Admiral Vec," he said, his voice steady. "Begin silent scans near Terran sectors. Do not alert them. I want movement reports every hour." "But sir," the Admiral replied, "what are we looking for?" Jorah's eyes narrowed. "Shadows. Far across the galaxy. Those shadows were already moving, in the dark void beyond the Crixan Empire's border." A Terran Spectre-class stealth cruiser glided silently. No signal, no light. Only purpose. Inside the ship, Captain Lynn stood beside. A large holographic projection of the galaxy. Each red point marked a place where Earth had been watching for years. Military zones, fleet yards, weapon test fields. All monitored. All ready, she spoke into her headset. Phase 2 initiated. Begin passive exposure. Moments later, across hundreds of systems, Earth's shadow fleet subtly revealed itself. Not fully. Just enough. One black warship uncloaked for 6 seconds above a mining world. Enough for scanners to see it, and for panic to spread. Another hovered above an abandoned moon and projected a hologram of Earth's emblem onto the surface. Nothing more. No messages. No attacks. Just presence. Inside the assembly's intelligence core, warning reports flooded the central command. Unidentified object seen above Tari sector. Black ship spotted near Takari outpost. No response to hails. Sensor ghosts multiplying near core trade lanes. Panic began to grow. Ambassadors from smaller empires begged for explanation. Ambassador. Elena remained silent. She knew exactly what was happening. Earth had played quiet for too long. The galaxy forgot that silence wasn't surrender. It was set up. On Morka Prime, deep underground, Ambassador Krail met with his elite spy unit. "You will go to Earth," he said coldly. "You will find their true military bases, their leaders, their blueprints. We cannot allow their silence to rule us." The chosen spy, a shapeshifter named Zarn, simply nodded. "No trace," Krail warned. "If they catch you, you don't return." Zarn smiled. "They'll never know I was there." But far above Earth, in its high orbit, Terran satellites were already watching. Not just space, but time. Earth's tech was strange now. It moved like thought, predicted like instinct. Some said they had combined AI with something far older, something not entirely understood. Zarn's mission had already failed. He just didn't know it yet. Back at Earth HQ, General Hale observed a new signal. A long-range missile test. Launched by the Crixan Empire. "Bold," he muttered. Commander Reyna appeared beside him. "They want to provoke us. See if we react." "Should we?" Reyna tilted her head. "No. Let them see we're watching." Aboard the Sky Warden, Jorah received the missile test results. It had been targeted at an empty asteroid field, but before the warhead could detonate, it vanished. No explosion. No data. Just gone. His crew was confused. "Sir, it didn't malfunction. It was removed." Jorah whispered. "They're not just watching. They're reaching." Suddenly, his console beeped. A single message appeared. "Your test has been noted. We advise caution. Earth, no signature. No source. Just fear. In the shadows of the void. Earth's forces moved like ghosts. They didn't strike. They didn't shout. They let the galaxy panic. Because when fear spreads, war isn't needed. Just the idea of it. The Zarn Dominion had never feared Earth. To them, humans were unpredictable, but too cautious to be dangerous. That's why the Dominion's supreme commander, Talvik, decided to act. If Earth's silence was truly a threat, he wanted proof. And if it was just a bluff, he would crush their pride in front of the galaxy. So Talvik sent 3 full warfleets, nearly 120 ships, to intercept the Terran listening post located near the Veil Nebula. The orders were simple: destroy the outpost. Leave no message. Return with wreckage. On Earth, inside the Global Defense Network's control tower, a red light blinked. Enemy fleet detected. No response sent. General Hale looked at the screen. Let them come, he said quietly. Commander Reyna stood beside him. Which ship is nearby? A technician replied, Vindicator. Alone. Reyna smiled. 1 is enough. In deep space, just outside the Veil Nebula, the Zarn fleet emerged from warp, fully armed and in formation. Their ships were fast, built for overwhelming strikes, and carried plasma-tipped missiles that could tear through Moon's dot at the edge of their formation. One scout ship spotted a small station orbiting an asteroid. No shields, no visible weapons. Commander Talvik laughed. That's Earth's secret base. This is over. He gave the order. Fire all batteries. Missiles launched. Energy beams surged forward. But before a single weapon reached the station, something appeared. It was not loud. It didn't roar. It didn't glow. It just materialized, like a shadow stepping into a beam of light. A Terran warship, sleek, long, pitch black. No markings. Its surface absorbed light like a black hole. It didn't move, but the space around it seemed to bend. On the Zarn bridge, Talvik jumped to his feet. What is that? The scanner screamed. Unknown vessel detected. Size large. Energy readings off the scale. Then, without warning, every missile and energy beam in space froze. Mid-flight, they didn't explode. They didn't vanish. They just stopped, suspended in space as if time itself had paused. Silence. On board the Vindicator, a calm female voice spoke. Threat confirmed. Protocol White initiated. The Terran ship did not open fire. Instead, it absorbed the incoming attacks. The missiles vanished into thin air. Beams of energy folded inward like they were swallowed. Then came the sound. Not a weapon blast, just a pulse. A single wave of force spread from the Vindicator. No fire. No lights. Just a silent shockwave. Inside the Zarn fleet, control panels melted. Screens died. Engines failed. Ships spun helplessly. Talvik screamed, retreat. Full retreat. But it was too late. One by one, the Zarn ships exploded, not with fire, but with silence. They crumbled like paper in the wind, broken from within. No escape pods launched. No Mayday signals. All that remained was a cloud of drifting metal and silence. On the edge of Earth's moon, in the Terran command center, the room remained calm. Fleet destroyed, the technician confirmed. Terran casualties, 0. General Hale gave a simple nod. Send the message. A transmission was sent to every government, every council, every warlord in the galaxy. It contained only 4 words. First glimpse, more awaits. At the Grand Assembly, panic exploded. The room filled with shouting, fear, and disbelief. Jorah didn't speak. He simply watched the footage of the battle, his fists clenched. One ship, one pulse, one moment. He looked at Ambassador Elena, standing silently in the corner. You planned this, he said. Elena smiled faintly. No, you did, when you laughed. In the darkest corners of the galaxy, where empires once believed themselves untouchable, new commands echoed. Hold your fire. Delay all Earth operations. Cancel military shows. And among whispers, One truth grew louder. Earth was no longer hiding. They had only opened one eye, and that eye was enough to terrify them all. Asterisk. The galaxy had stopped Laughing Dot after the destruction of the Zaran war fleet by a single Terran ship. Silence spread across empires like a disease. Leaders of mighty civilizations locked themselves in meetings. Warlords canceled invasions. Intelligence. Networks froze. Everyone was asking one question. What else is Earth hiding? The answer came faster than expected. The Galactic Assembly called for an emergency summit. All races, all powers, all factions were invited. The location was changed this time, not on a neutral station, but at Earth's invitation. The new meeting would be held in orbit around Saturn. When the delegates arrived, they found something unimaginable waiting for them. A massive ring-shaped station floated near the planet. Unlike anything they had seen before, it shimmered like metal and crystal mixed together. A strange energy pulsed through its structure. It had no visible defenses, but scanners reported power levels equivalent to a collapsing star. It was Earth's newly revealed stronghold. Fort Titan. As the alien ships approached, they were guided into landing bays by smooth, silent drones. No spoken commands, no threats, just precise, cold control. Inside, the assembly was led into a vast hall 10 times larger than the one on Orlax Prime. Giant screens surrounded them, but none were active yet. Standing at the center was Ambassador Elena. She didn't wear the Hunana blue uniform this time. She wore black. Welcome, she said calmly. You are here not to negotiate, but to understand. A few voices rose in protest. One alien shouted, "Is this a threat?" Elena raised one hand, and the screens came alive. The room went silent again. The first screen showed Project Helix, a rotating Terran orbital platform capable of controlling gravity fields across entire systems. The second showed the Night Engine, a Cheap-to-Night engine, Terran warship that could remain cloaked indefinitely and fire through folded space, hitting targets light years away. The third screen displayed Omega-class dreadnoughts, each one the size of a small moon, powered by mini black holes stabilized in magnetic cores. Another showed orbital mind arcs, weapons controlled by emotionless AI designed to make real-time moral decisions on planetary threats. No pilot, no mistakes, no mercy. The last screen showed the most terrifying image of all. Project Ashfall, a single-use Terran device buried inside Earth's core, capable of resetting a star system by igniting its sun. Elena turned to the assembly. These are not weapons of conquest, she said. They are weapons of warning. Commander Jorah stood slowly. You had this all along? You could have ruled the galaxy. Why didn't you? Elena looked at him with sharp eyes. Because we didn't want to rule. We wanted to be left alone. But when you called us weak, when you attacked, Earth changed. She stepped forward, her voice rising. For centuries, we held back. We watched your wars, your politics, your betrayals. And still, we offered peace. But now, the galaxy must understand. Humanity does not beg. We do not bluff. And we never forget. Across the galaxy, the broadcast spread like wildfire. Fort Titan's reveal was public. On desert worlds, children stared at the sky in fear. On icy moons, soldiers laid down their weapons. On royal planets, kings and queens asked their advisors, "Can we survive this?" The answer was the same everywhere. Back inside the assembly chamber, an old alien warlord stood with shaking hands. "What do you want from us?" he asked. Elena answered simply, "Balance, respect, peace." Another voice whispered, "And if we refuse?" Elena smiled slightly. "You already saw what one ship did. Would you like to see what a fleet can do?" High above them, Earth's black fleet floated just beyond Saturn's rings. Hundreds of ships, motionless, watching. They did not power up weapons. They didn't need to. The message was clear. Earth's silence was over. Its arsenal had spoken. And now the galaxy listened. Fear is quiet at first. It doesn't scream. It doesn't panic. It creeps. And now it crept through every system in the galaxy. On the industrial world of Volcar 3, the forges stopped burning. Orders for new battleships were canceled overnight. Workers stood still, staring at screens that played the same footage. Earth's Fort Titan in the Black Fleet above Saturn. Military officers whispered behind locked doors. One admiral asked, "How do you fight a power that never fired first?" No one had an answer. In the depths of the Tikari Confederation, scientists tried to understand how Earth had created gravity weapons and starfold engines. None of there. Research matched what they'd seen. One of them, Dr. Eisen, finally said what everyone feared. "We are no longer the most advanced. We are the ones being studied now." Across their planet, research labs shut down in silence. In the dark halls of the Crixan Empire, General Yawks, once proud, once mocking, now sat in silence. His advisors begged him to respond, to prepare for war, to raise defenses. He shook his head slowly. "We mocked a giant that chose to sleep," he said. "And now it's standing over us." He turned to his guards. "Send a message to Earth." "What should it say, General?" He closed his eyes. 2 words: "We surrender." Not every empire reacted with surrender. Some responded with paranoia. The Morka Dominion, known for espionage and assassinations, began executing its own spies, afraid Earth had turned them. They ordered their citizens to stay away from Terran. Space. No ships were to travel near Earth. No communication. No trade. But it didn't matter, because Earth's ships were already everywhere. On the Varnak's homeworld, Commander Jorah stood on the balcony of his command tower, looking up at the night sky. He didn't see stars anymore. He saw eyes. Behind him, a young officer asked, "Sir, should we launch countermeasures?" Jorah didn't turn. "No," he said. "Earth doesn't need to strike to win. They've made us afraid of the possibility of a strike." He looked at the stars again. They've changed the galaxy without firing a shot. Back on Fort Titan, Ambassador Elena sat alone in a chamber built for war. She watched the silent footage sent from Earth's outer fleets. Alien ships running. Colonies powering down. Leaders stepping away from old wars. All because of one truth. Fear had done what force never could. Her communicator buzzed. General Hale's voice came through. "Some empires want to speak. They want deals, treaties, protections." Elena replied softly, "We offer peace, but we offer it our way now." "Understood," Hale said. "And the rebels?" She glanced at a small red marker blinking on a screen, a rogue planet preparing to fire on a Terran vessel. "Let them fire," she whispered. "They'll see what fear truly means." In deep space, near the rogue planet Yari 5, the rebels launched a full spread of missiles at what they thought was a simple Terran scout ship. The missiles flew silent, fast, locked on. But halfway through space, they simply vanished, not exploded. Not deflected. Erased. The rebel commander blinked. "What? What happened?" No response. Then a single message appeared on their screens, written in human language and translated across all systems. "You have seen our shadow. Don't make us. Show our flame." The planet surrendered within 6 minutes. Back in the Galactic Assembly, no one raised their voice now. The jokes had died. The pride had faded. And in its place, something stronger had grown. Respect. Elena stood once again. "This is not about war," she said. "This is about balance, peace with strength. Earth will not lead the galaxy, but we will no longer be beneath it. She looked around slowly. Fear was never our goal. But if it stops more blood from being spilled, then let it stay. And far beyond Saturn, beyond the Terran fleet, beyond the known systems, something else moved. Earth's deep arsenal. Weapons not even Fort Titan revealed remained in the dark, because Earth still believed one truth. A power only stays feared when it keeps a few secrets. Asterisk. The silence of fear had spread across the stars. But silence does not last forever. One empire refused to kneel. The Zorath Dominion proud, ancient, and isolated sent no messages, made no peace offers, and ignored all of Earth's quiet displays. Their leaders believed fear was weakness, and they had ruled through terror for over 1,000 years. So they made a decision. They would send a clear message to the galaxy. One act of defiance. One show of dominance. They would attack Earth. Zorath fleet launched from their home system in a black armored wedge of destruction, over 300 warships. Led by the Bladalord, a dreadnought the size of a small moon. They didn't sneak. They didn't hide. They announced their arrival, broadcasting across every channel. Humanity will kneel today. Watch and remember who rules. On Earth, inside the Defense Command Tower buried beneath the Rockies, alarms remained silent. General Hale stared at the incoming signal calmly. They're really doing it. His aide whispered. Hale turned to Commander Reyna. Send one ship. Which one? He paused, then spoke a name no one expected. Genesis. The Zorath fleet reached the edge of Sol System. Just beyond Pluto, their sensors picked up a faint ripple. Then, a single Terran ship arrived. No support, no escorts. Just one vessel. At first, they laughed. That's all they send? The Zorath admiral growled. But then they saw it. The ship was not like the Vindicator or any other Earthcraft shown before. It was bigger. Much bigger. Longer than their dreadnought. Thicker than any carrier. And covered in a strange, shifting black armor that shimmered like liquid stone. Around it spun 6 energy rings, glowing with silent power. Its name was printed on its hull in a soft white light. TSS Genesis. The Zorath opened fire first. Missiles, beams, cannons, radiation blasts. Hundreds of attacks at once. The Genesis didn't move. Didn't flinch. And then something impossible happened. Space folded. Not around the Genesis, but around the weapons themselves. The missiles curved back. The beams twisted. The radiation spread outward back toward the Zorath fleet. Their own firepower turned on them. Panic spread through the Zorath command breach. Redirect weapons. Reverse targeting. Shut down the dreadnought core. Too late. In the middle of the chaos, the Genesis finally moved. It didn't fire missiles. It didn't send drones. It simply spoke. A single word pulsed across every Zorath ship's AI system. Enough. And all of their ships shut down. Power gone. Engines dead. Weapons frozen. From Earth's command tower, technicians watched in silence. Do we finish them? Reyna asked. General Hale closed his eyes. Send them home. Within seconds, the Genesis transmitted energy pulses to the disabled Zorath, ships restoring just enough power for navigation. No more. Just survival. The Zorath fleet turned, broken, silent, defeated. The footage spread across the galaxy within minutes. Not edited, not dramatized. Raw, pure. One Terran ship. 300 warships. No deaths, no fire. Just control. In the Grand Assembly. No one asked questions anymore. No one laughed. No one challenged Earth. Ambassador Alina stood once more. Not with threats, but with a promise. Earth will not rule the galaxy, but we will never be ruled again. Let this be our final message. we are done being silent. She paused, and we are always watching. From that day forward, peace held not because treaties were signed, but because no one wanted to see what came after the Genesis. The galaxy moved slower, spoke softer, because they had seen what Earth truly was. Not conquerors, not invaders, not weak. Just. Ready. Final line. And after the laughter died, all that remained was respect. Asterisk.